Hey, what's going on, guys? How are you, meatballs? These are the 10 ways in which Modern Warfare 3 zombies can go from just okay to damn, this game's actually really good. Now, regardless of what is done to the game in future updates, I truthfully don't believe that it will ever beat out a round-based game, even something like Cold War Zombie. But for what it is, MWZ definitely deserves some appreciation, as it truly did a good job at accomplishing what it was trying to do. So, today, we're gonna go over what can make this formula for this game even better. People are always trying to change, but we are instead going to be going for improvement on what's already there, as this game is truly in a category all by itself. Right into the actual video, these 10 things are really in no specific order. They're just things that I really believe should get done and will greatly improve the game. Let's go. The first two things can actually be talked about together and are reflective of something the entire community has been begging for. 1, reduce schematic cooldowns with ways to make timers even smaller, and 2, increased acquisition stash. And a consequence of all of this would be fully patching Tombstone's exploits. So schematic cooldowns in Modern Warfare 3 zombies are actually quite sickening. I do not want to wait 3 days to use one item one time for 45 minutes. It's actually so ridiculous, it's not even funny. I get the reason behind schematic cooldowns, but what truly is the purpose of them and what replay value is provided through them if we can't use them more often than we already can? All of them need to be looked at individually and reduced, and none should even ever be more than 12 hours for a recharge. I think that's ridiculous in itself, but considering where we're at, that would be a win. By the way, none of this is meant or directed as hate at all towards developers or towards the game. It's just me naturally venting frustration over some things that seem obvious that aren't there. The devs work really hard and they can never create the perfect game. Let's be honest, it's not possible. I get it. So this is all politely, even though it may not sound it at certain points, very politely directed as feedback. Anyways, these schematic cooldown timers go hand in hand with the acquisition stash. You give us really cool schematic system and the ability to store these items within the stash, both from the schematic system and from in-game play. It all sounds cool, it all sounds amazing until you look at the actual numbers. I can play a game of Modern Warfare Zombies and then exfil with 9 items from that game, granted I have a large rucksack, and then put these items into my stash. This would then leave me with just 1 item of space to put into my stash from the schematic system. Now these are the extremes, but sometimes you have to look at the extremes to find flaws. It just doesn't make any sense to have it the way it is. Now what I'm proposing is a raise limit of 20 items in the acquisition stash. This is truly nothing crazy and not as stupid as people screaming infinite stash like some people on Reddit. 20 is realistic and it's enough for people to exfil with 2 to 4 items per game, considering they don't use anything over the course of a few games, but still store some really important stuff from that schematic system within their stash as well. Especially if cooldowns get a nerf, people would want to store more stuff away than ever before, and they'd still be forced to make decisions on what they want to store away as well, because although 20 is a huge increase in terms of what it provides and what's already there, it's not enough to cut off that decision making. And if you know me, you know I'm all about decisions in zombies. That's important to me, and that's been something extracted from zombies for a very long time. Now either one of these changes, meaning the reduced schematic cooldowns or increased acquisition stash, would definitely be great and noticeable, but the conjunction of both would be game changing. Now I also want to mention that if they added some kind of system for schematics, that if you were to exfil with the schematic, say 2 or 3 times, I think I saw Noah J say this over on Twitter, this isn't my idea, but this is a good one. If you were to exfil with, say, the same schematic multiple times, which gives you another purpose to play the game, you know, you can grind for schematics again, then the cooldown timer for the schematics would go down. And even if they were to do that, they still have to reduce the base schematic cooldown because it's ridiculous, but that is another possible viable solution on top of just reducing cooldown. You're getting rewarded for your gameplay. Now at this point, patching Tombstone would be a must, and I truthfully think that they didn't do too much to nerf Tombstone into the ground like they usually do with nerfs of things, with stuff that's OP, because they know that Tombstone is providing people with replayability. If they patch that and people have to play the game normally, they'll get bored much faster. Now although this is a definite, like that would definitely happen if that's what they did to Tombstone, it's just a theory that they didn't patch it for that reason. It's probably not the case, it's just my crazy mind, but you know, it's not impossible. But I would hope they only patch Tombstone after they apply these changes, because it would really hurt the game if they patched Tombstone and didn't make any adjustments at all. And I know they already did patch Tombstone a little bit, but I'm talking about a real full patch. Number 3, more contracts. MWZ has a huge contract issue. Not only are there not enough to force variability in gameplay, but some of them flat out are not fun or just not worth it in comparison to others. For example, why do a defend ground station contract ever? Especially when you can do a much safer and quicker bounty or outlast contract. We need more contracts for more variability and excitement within the game. It just gets very boring playing Modern Warfare Contract and Loot Fair if you're playing casually, because quite frankly, there's nothing to do casually, and unlike round-based, the dopamine hit is much lower from just running and shooting. And even if you are playing seriously, just grinding contracts and, you know, playing Contract, Call of Duty Contract, Modern, I can't speak right now, playing Call of Duty Modern, Contract, and Loot Fair, it's not the most fun thing ever. But yeah, let's dumb this down. A nicer and simpler way to say everything I'm saying is more and more simple contracts equals more fun. I'm not saying easy, I'm saying simple. Complexity and difficulty are two different things. Number 4. Looting and item prices. I mentioned in number 3 that I sometimes, although I enjoy it most of the time, refer to this game as Call of Duty Modern Contract and Loot Fair. It makes sense if you really look at what you're doing on the grand scale. We just discussed those contracts, which are definitely in a much better state than the looting system, but what we're about to talk about is serious yet simple. Give me a 100x increase on the price of everything if you want us to loot items other than usable items. It probably sounds insane to you, but when you listen to what I'm going to say, it makes a lot of sense. There should not be screwdrivers in comic books that provide zero use to the actual gameplay or even story. You can just pick them up and sell them back to the buy station. Well, what the heck is that? So what I'm saying is give them a reason to be lootable, or don't let them be lootable at all. Think about it. If you have a multiple 1,000-point item that's not usable, do you really ever sell it back to the buy station? I know I almost never do, and I'm talking about stuff that's expensive. Like I've had a 5,000-point gold bar that I was only tempted to sell back to the buy station, but didn't. But imagine those comic books were worth 2k points each, and a screwdriver is worth 500 points each, and the various items around the map are worth much more than they currently are. When you do the math on it, you quickly come to realize and see the value that this would provide for the game. Now, I personally do not want to see these meaningless, unusable items in the game, regardless of if they increase the points they allow you to get and allow you to progress more easily and better blend the looting system that they currently have, right? If they did what I did, it would definitely improve or increase the rate of looting and improve the looting system. I personally rather not have it at all, because in my opinion, if there's going to be items that we can get out of loot boxes, they should, in game that is, they should be usable to some capacity, meaning we can get a drill for like 400 points, right? I don't know how much it costs, whatever it may be, but then when we do the contract, we have to drill a safe, and for some reason we're using a random drill that we just found. It doesn't make much sense. So if we had to use that drill maybe to drill safes, that would be really cool to me. I'm not proposing they change the entire structure of the contract, the raid weapon stash contract, but something to that capacity would have made a lot more sense, and then if we were able to sell it back, it would make even more sense. But instead we have these meaningless items around the map that I know I never pick up and never sell back, both because they're not usable and I don't want to waste the space, and because they're worth no points. I'd rather just loot real stuff. So yes, I'm proposing a 100x increase in the sellback price of these items to really shake stuff up and allow us to truly utilize the sellback functionality. Again, if something to that degree doesn't happen, then just take away the looting system. Just let's do away with that bullshit, or the unusable, unequipable items in the looting system. I'm not talking about crystals and stuff like that, self-revives. We keep all that, but the comic books, they go. If you're enjoying and want more Elite Modern Warfare Zombies content, not that sounds like this ever again, I will not ever be recording on a phone ever again, hit that like button and subscribe to join the Meatball Army. Back to the video. Number 5, improved buy stations. Classified schematics available in buy stations after unlock. So I briefly discussed on this within the last point, but now that will bleed over to this one. I'm obviously reading a script. Everything's so scuffed right now. I'm sorry about this video being scuffed, but I wanted to get it up. The buying part of buy stations is a little much, and if you play the game legit and go for all your perks and everything you can possibly get, it will take you a long time, and that wouldn't be too much of an issue if there wasn't a timer. But yeah, I'm considering that you spawn in fresh with practically nothing and no tombstone glitches at all. You're playing regular, and like I said, with such a small timer, all of your points are so valuable, and as such, I propose that we reduce the prices of everything in buy station. Not by much though, maybe a 25% reduction, or even some kind of power up that reduces the prices of everything temporarily. Not for nothing, we had fire sales back in older game. If they were to bring those back for buy stations and pack-a-punches in this game, that would be way more powerful than it ever was in previous games. Just an idea. It would be just another way for us to prepare less tediously and move along on whatever mission we may be going on during our game. The bulk of the the game shouldn't be grinding your perks and pack-a-punch. It should definitely be a progression there. There should definitely be a progression, but that shouldn't be the whole progression. That shouldn't take up 30 minutes if you're playing, again, naturally, no schematics, stuff like that. The second part of my point revolves around classified schematics as mentioned earlier. They are not in buy stations at all, and they should be. They're pretty OP, so they should cost a lot of money. I get that, but the fact that they're not in there at all is really annoying, and it doesn't make much sense. So please add golden armor plates and ether blades to the buy stations. It would make everyone's life so much better. Number 6, more reason to play. The first 5 points all go over improvement on what's already in Modern Warfare Zombie. With the way stuff is currently configured, I don't see too much of a reason to play, but if they were to apply these changes in conjunction with some new additions, we'd have much more reason to just jump in. I can get that Wonder Waff and or that ray gun faster. I can get my golden armor faster. I can get anything I may want faster. So with those previously mentioned changes, we'd be getting a lot from that, and then with any other new updates that they were to come out with, they can build on these improved mechanics and systems. For example, it's been rumored that you could possibly be playing a PvPvE mode where you can actually kill other people in Zombie. Now I know that sounds a little weird and we don't know exactly how it's going to work, but having more available to you all around would definitely greatly increase the amount of fun you have, and that works from the mechanics all the way up to game mode. Of course, as long as each is done right. Also, in the future, I'm sure they'll add another Easter egg. That's yet another reason as of now to log on and play MWZ. If it weren't for that USB red worm Easter egg, which by the way I have a full guide on my channel for and the most elite cheat sheet available for in my Discord for free. Join up on that Discord to join the Meeple Army and chat and get that cheat sheet with the link down below in the description. But we have that USB red worm Easter egg boss fight plus the Dark Ether Easter egg and contracts that got added with season 1. Those were huge, and I mean that to the biggest degree. I don't know how to emphasize how huge, but it was huge because they added to the amount of stuff that you can do in any given game. If it wasn't for that, I'm telling you, I really truthfully believe that this game would be completely dead. That Dark Ether literally has saved the game, and the USB red worm. Dokebi was also added in season 1 reloaded, but who cares about her? Nobody cares about her. It was cool for the first day, but that's it. We need more, and to the capacity of that Dark Ether update. More options are always awesome, and I can't wait to see how they provide us with more to increase replayability on the micro in terms of contracts and looting, and the macro in terms of Easter eggs and stuff of that sort. Number 7, Dark Ether functionality. Now, as I said, the Dark Ether was a great addition to Modern Warfare Zombies. It gives us more reason to play, but once you've accomplished everything in that Elder Sigil Dark Ether, which can all be done in one game, may I add, what's the real point of going back in? I go in to look at it sometimes because I think it's just so beautiful, but from a gameplay perspective, I mean, you can do the keys Easter egg, which I also have a cheat sheet for and a video on my channel, but there's not much reason, especially for those who are not too good at the game. If you're really not good, you're probably terrified of that Dark Ether. They'll go in there and die, and for what? Especially if you have your schematics already. I'm not quite sure what the solution is here either. I mean, obviously you can just say add more Easter eggs, maybe add more contracts for whatever reason, maybe for another schematic, who knows. I'd really love to see the Dark Ether as a round-based map. Oh, how much I'd love that. But considering that that doesn't happen, and it probably won't, and we're only focusing on this main Modern Warfare Zombies mode, more has to be added to this Dark Ether, allowing us another pathway of options to choose from when just playing the game normally. Number 8, Wonder Weapon buffs and side Easter egg. Regardless of if they nerf the Wonder Weapon schematic cooldowns, Wonder Weapons will still be greatly underappreciated in Modern Warfare Zombies. They need to be doing more damage to bosses though, especially the ray gun, so I would provide a small buff to all of them when it comes to killing bosses because they kinda suck against bosses, but the main thing I want to see is Wonder Weapon side Easter egg. Imagine having to find and input a code into a safe for a free Scorcher in some part of the map, and maybe you blow open an area to get to the safe using one of the ammo mods, who knows. Maybe you shoot a coil on the map with Deadwire to power a Wonder Waff laying somewhere else on the map, who knows. And maybe even having a race to the highest point in the red zone for a free Scorcher every single game that you can then blast away with. You know, just some random silly fun ideas that provide you with real hard in-game cash. This is going to be the worst video I uploaded in a very long time. There is so much that can be done with a map of this scale, and I would love to see them take this as an opportunity to create side quests for each of the Wonder Weapon. It would truly be so cool and provide those who aren't too skilled with a bonus chance of getting on in-game and getting that Wonder Weapon for free via these mini quests. Number 9, more perk machine. WONDERFIZZ Fizz in each zone, question mark, exclamation point. Something really annoying about Modern Warfare Zombies is the perk machine. I do not want to run a full circle around the map to get all of my perks. And I know we have the free perk Easter eggs, and those are fantastic, and I'm so grateful for them. Really awesome stuff. But the game will be almost over by the time I have enough time to run around the map to either do all of those free perk Easter eggs or to buy the perks via the machines, because I also have to do contracts to get points for these perks. Therefore, the only realistic and viable option to achieve all perks is to hoard up those points via contracts and then go to the WONDERFIZZ machine in the red zone. That's if you don't want to spend your entire game just grinding to get perks and pack-a-punch. So I propose that we just stop beating around the bush and put a WONDERFIZZ in each zone, or instead of 2 in the red zone, give me just 1 in the red zone, and then give me 1 in the medium zone, in the orange zone. That would reduce tediousness a lot. That would improve the flow of the game a lot. A secondary option would be to obviously just increase the amount of perk machine spawn, but even that would just be weird and not enough, considering that there's 9 different perks that have to be accounted for. All I'm gonna say is that I know I rarely ever use perk machines anymore, and I'm willing to bet that you rarely ever do as well. Number 10, more BLOODBURNER bikes. To my understanding, they spawn anywhere on the map, and there's literally only 1 that spawns per game. Now, the BLOODBURNER is awesome and so much damn fun to use, and it's really useful. Let's not hold this back from people. Give me 5 on the map at minimum at a time, please. Everyone wants one. They're OP, I get it, and you want to balance it out by only putting 1 on the map and having that be real royalty, but they're so fun. Please add more, please. That's all I got. This is going to be a rough video once I edit it, but hopefully it works out well. Like if you enjoyed, sub for